Hello. How's it going? Gonna light some sage. Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late here. Hi, Stephanie. How are you? Did you have a good weekend? Hi, Margarita. Nice to see you, darling. How was your weekend? Hi, Elaine. Hi, Emma. Good afternoon. Hi, Michelle. How are you guys? Did you guys have a good weekend? What have you been up to? Lori's here. Hi, sweetie. Hi, Summer. Good morning, brother. Hi, Leanne. Stephanie's had a stressful day. You had a stressful weekend, I mean. What's going on, Stephanie? Hi, Grant. Hi, Cindy. Nice to see you, darling. Hi, Donna. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Karen. How is everyone today? Good Monday to you too, Joanne. What you guys been up to, huh? What'd you guys do this weekend? Anybody else get a lot of snow? I got about 8 inches of snow outside. That's fun. Many thanks to my wonderful mother for having my driveway plowed this morning. Thanks, Mom. Love you. She just saved me about 8 hours worth of shoveling today. Mwah. Thank you. So that's really nice of her. Adulting is not fun, especially when you have a whole lot of mess to clean up every time it snows. I got my sage here. My doobie's getting a little nubby. I'm gonna have to get another one at some point. Hi, Emma. From Friday to Saturday night, I dreamed I was with you, Laura, and the community, and we were doing crossword puzzles. Really? What an interesting dream. That was so cool. You might get snow tomorrow, huh, Summer? Nice. Lots of sledding. It's a good thing the kids don't have school tomorrow or today for Martin Luther King Day, because ironically, they wouldn't have had school today. There's no way they would have had school today with this amount of snow on the ground. I went out and fed my birds this morning. The birds are all happy. There's about 20, 30 birds out by my bird feeder this morning. It makes me feel like an old person to say that, but I do. I love the birds so much. And it was really nice. You just sit there watching them jump around in the snow looking for food. But here in central PA, like, it's already starting. It's warm enough. It's already starting to melt. Happy Coronation Day, y'all, Lindsay says. You're hilarious, Lindsay. I forgot about that. Today is the big day, isn't it? Where we swap one politician for another. Whee! We are in for a major cold front here in Vermont. Negative 40 with the wind chill. Holy shit, Aaron. That is really cold. I'll stop complaining about my -3 that it's supposed to be here in central PA. Trying to stay warm. It's 5 degrees here. I wonder what it is here. It's already starting to melt, so it can't be that cold. Oh, wait, never mind. I lied. It's 19. So it is cold. Maybe the sun is just starting to melt things. I don't know. But yeah, for the next 3 days, it's going to be really cold. It's going down to -3 here. So make sure you guys are all bundled up and warm. I wanted to discuss something today, though. You know, it's funny. We were just, somebody just made a comment that reminded me of what I was going to discuss today. Has anybody seen the telepathy tapes yet? The telepathy tapes on YouTube. It's like a podcast that has been released. I forget how many episodes there are. I'm episode 5 right now. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, I will share the link. My sister works with special needs children, and I'm pretty sure some of them are nonverbal. So I'm going to send this to my sister as well and be like, you're going to watch this whether you like it or not, even though she thinks I'm totally nuts. So the telepathy tapes, here we go. Let me find it phenomenal. Like, you guys are gonna love this. If any of you have not watched this yet, you have to. You're gonna freaking love it. I had a couple people be like, "Have you seen it yet?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "You have to." And I'm really glad that I did, because holy cow, it's phenomenal. Really, really interesting. It's all about children who are nonverbal and yet are blatantly telepathic, like to the point where there's no mincing words about it. You know, like they could deliver, you could be thinking of a 10-digit number in your head and they're going to recite that exact digit to the letter, exactly how you have it in your head. In fact, they'll even see things. Like the funny thing about this, right, is that this is not something that like was easy for them to admit, which is one of the reasons why so many people are still kind of brushing this off as bullshit, even though it's very clearly not. Because you have these children who are unable to express themselves verbally, who are unable to actually, talk about what's going on in their life in a verbal sense. But when you give them a keypad and they allow them to type or to assist them in some way, they end up being like these hyper intelligent children who are able to process information in ways that it's unfathomable to us. Like, we look at them as if sometimes there's not even somebody inside, which blows my mind that people can even have that understanding, to even have that thought that just because somebody cannot speak properly, that there's no soul or that there's no consciousness within. And it's just mind blowing. And then, especially when these children start being able to express themselves in this way. And then the next thing you know, you find out these children are actually like supremely intelligent, almost like savant level. Like, one of these girls could not speak, and yet she knew as soon as they got her speaking, like with a typewriter or with a keyboard, I should say, it's like she knew like 4 languages. She didn't just know one language, she knew multiple languages, but she couldn't express that because she couldn't speak. So it's just mind blowing. It really is. And this one young girl, her name was Lily, who she was the one that really, I just love her. I mean, the way they were talking about Lily, oh my God, she's such a vibe. I love her so much already. And so one of the things they asked Lily was, what would it take to be taken seriously? What is going to change this? When is this going to actually, now, see, I'm just laughing here because we've got Matt in the comments. Matt says, sorry, but the telepathy tapes are total bullshit. Born of grifters feeding off parents who are guilty of vaccine injuring their child. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what people are combating, because even though there's so much evidence and so much passion behind the children and the parents and the teachers and all the people that are involved with these children, you're always going to have a naysayer who's calling bullshit. Always. It doesn't matter how much evidence they supply. There doesn't matter how blatantly in your face obvious it is. There is it's almost like science is another form of religion, if you think about it. Because in a way, there are many people. I mean, yeah, they may be priests in white coats telling everybody, that they're right. They're the intelligent one and everybody else is wrong because they're the scientist, Meanwhile, there's so many things that are disavowed. They won't even look at it. There's so many teachers, so many intellectuals have come forward with evidence, and they didn't even look at it. There was that one teacher, there was a scientist that she was discussing. I forget her name, but she was saying like how much evidence she had, and she put it all into a portfolio, and she went to give it to someone. They never even opened it, and they tried to take her license. Didn't even read it. Didn't even read one page of her huge dissertation that she wrote, and they immediately tried to take her degree, tried to take away everything, her reputation. You know what I mean? Like, it's 100% a religion. And so of course you're going to have people that are programmed who are going to say things like, oh, of course it's bullshit. Whereas, I mean, telepathy has been studied for over 200 years. Easily. I mean, anybody that has been a member of the Theosophical Society is well aware that people like, the original founders of the Theosophical Society, and many of which have been, they were world renowned for their research. So it's very sad that so many people have this, I believe, what do they call it? Materialism standpoint, where if you can't if it's not tangible, right? Like if you can't hold it in your hand, then it's bullshit. If you can't put it into a box that already fits into all of their little tiny what's the word? All their tiny little predisposed opinions, then it's bullshit to them, right? So it's kind of interesting how many of us are ready for like the world to move on. And this is why I say, like what Lily was saying, like the only thing that's really going to convince people that this isn't bullshit is critical mass. It's more and more children who are being born nonverbal who are actually being heard. And the sad thing is, there's so many countries in this world that if they find out you're going to be nonverbal or something, they'll immediately put you on drugs. They immediately deem you as, retardation or whatever their ridiculous terms are these days. And so, unfortunately, there are so many people that are brilliant, absolutely like smarter than Einstein, who are trapped in a body that is not working with them, but is trapped in a body that makes it difficult for them to express themselves. And it's really sad that many of those children are deemed to be, like I said, extremely low IQ when it's actually the opposite. Think of how high your IQ has to be for you to be telepathic in the first place, right? So, anyway, it's very exciting and yet also frustrating to see so much progress and so many people trying to hold back that progress with the same old bullshit, the same old opinions, the same old, no, you can't prove that attitude. And, it's, I don't know. It's just silly to me how many people think that it's inconceivable that we have telepathic. Every single person in here has telepathy. Every single person that's listening to me talk about this right now is telepathic. Obviously, for children who are nonverbal, who are able to do it to such a degree that they can even, have conversations with other children around the world. And one of the coolest things about that was their discussion about the Hill, Talk on the Hill. So those of you who haven't seen the telepathy tapes yet, there's a lot of children all over the world who are tuning into their own version of like this, what is it, astral social media, I guess, would you guys call it that? I guess this is the bestest way to put it, where all of these children, I shouldn't even say children, a lot of them are children, but some of them, a great number of them are adults as well, who tune into each other at the same time every day, and they have conversations with each other. It's just that there's no technology involved. There's no phone that they're talking through. There's no computer that they're talking through. They're having a telepathic conversation with each other from around the world. One child will be talking about his love of bees, and another child will be talking about, I don't know, the spirits that he's been talking to. So it's, yeah, exactly, Erin. It's like a telepathy chat room. Can you imagine how cool that would be for these nonverbal children to have that for each other, to be able to connect with each other? That was the most beautiful part of the whole thing. Like, I absolutely love that they have their own like chat network. So it was adorable. And you guys, like I said, you guys have to check out the telepathy tapes. It's on YouTube. Phenomenal. I don't know what you want to call it. Podcast, mini documentary. So tens of thousands of people all over the world. I forget how many he said, but they were like, how many people are in the chat right now? And he's like, 1,300 something. And she's like, what? So it's not a small network of people chatting all at once. There could be over 1,000 people. And they call it the Hill because it's like a chat pile. It's like a cuddle puddle, but it's actually like, a big chat network. And I just think it's absolutely brilliant. And the fact that there are children all over the world that are part of this without even being verbal enough to tell their parents about it, it's incredible. And so I'm hoping that this is going to get things taken more seriously. I would love to see more studies about this because, like I said, there's so many people that have deemed the science finished, so to speak, They say the science has been settled already, and they don't like to discuss things that are taboo. And this is obviously telepathy is going to be one of those things. So if you guys haven't seen it yet, please do. Please give it a like and support the the people that are making it, because there's a very large effort trying to bring attention to this now. In fact, there's a whole bunch of cool stuff on Reddit as well if you guys want to check it out. In fact, I even messaged two of the people that were interviewed on the podcast to see if they would come on my podcast. So it would be really cool if we could hear about telepathy from people that are actually in the business of studying it. What if the telepathy chat room happens on the quantum servers? Well, all servers are quantum if you think about it. It's just that this server is the one we're locked into. So when we tap into other servers, that's when we start getting confused. My two kids and I have been doing this since they were small, and my youngest was born doing this. We didn't speak of it often to others until more recently, and many others in our soul circle do it too. I love that, Michelle. Lovely. Leanne says we can all do this. We just need to get out of our own way. Exactly, Leanne. Every single one of you are telepathic. How many times have you guys actually like thought of somebody and then the next thing you know, they ring you? You always think about those things. I think this podcast will take off like a rocket and help spread awareness. I'm going to tell everyone I know for sure. Lovely. Yes, we need to talk about these things more. Absolutely. Oh, she says my twin and I are pretty good at it. I bet telepathy between twins is unparalleled. They say that telepathy is strongest between a mother and a child, but I honestly think twin telepathy might be even stronger than that. Because if you think about it, you're sharing a womb. In many cases, twins are actually the same consciousness split between two bodies. So technically, the most common form of twin flame is not a romantic twin flame. It's a twin. It's like an actual twin is your most common twin flame that you're going to find here on Earth. Because it's literally the same soul split between different bodies. If it wants to be, I've actually found it's about 50-50. Half of the twins are the same consciousness split, but then sometimes it's actually people that are trying to work things out. In fact, there was a client the other day that is not speaking to their twin right now because they're going through stuff. And sure enough, I check and there's karma between the two. So it's actually two separate souls that chose to come in together to the point where they literally had to share the same womb so they would get along. So it's kind of funny how, the relationships are complicated. But telepathy is a thing shared between anybody, especially the closer you are in vibration. Remember, it's not just about being family related. It's not about being biologically related. It's not about being, romantic or any of those things. It's purely vibrational. So if you're in the same vibration, you're going to be able to read each other better. And it was funny because your soul guides can also send you thoughts telepathically too, which I was not really aware of until I started working on my mediumship and doing practice sessions. Because I've been doing practice sessions with Katie, like we did some yesterday where we sat down with the whole group and we cleared a space and it was amazing. We actually ended up clearing that entire mental health ward in London that I talked about a week ago. As I mentioned, we were going to go back and do a recheck to see how effective our first level of clearing was. And it was so effective, we actually ended up keeping it so clean that we were able to clear the entire building. Aha! So instead of just clearing one floor of this mental health ward in London, we ended up clearing the entire building. And not just the building, we even cleared the tunnel systems underneath the building, which, holy crap, there were a lot of earthbounds down there. I don't know if they're from the Blitz or what. Maybe there might have been some, that's my opinion. I don't know. I haven't asked the guides where they were from. I can't imagine why there would be hundreds and hundreds of earthbounds underground in London. So I'm guessing it's from the Blitz. I don't know. I haven't validated that. But yeah, there were so many people underground. It's unbelievable. We crossed over nearly 500 earthbounds and entities in one building. So, and the person that we cleared last week was still sovereign and actually doing really well. And I posted, if you guys are interested, you can join my Spirit Release and Lost Soul Rescue group. And you can see the testimonial that his wonderful sister sent to me. And it made our whole weekend. Like, I can't begin to tell you how happy we were. That's why we went back and checked again. We're like, since we did so well and he's looking like he's doing so good, let's go and see what's going on. And sure enough, like I said, we had a far better effect on the clearing than we expected. So I must admit, I expected that floor to be a mess. I expected that place to be completely filled with entities again, but his floor was still clear. And like I said, we cleared the entire building because of it. Somebody said, what's the Blitz? It's when London was bombed during World War II really badly. Like half of London was destroyed during World War II. With Bush family oil, just for the record, all the bombs dropped then were actually made with Bush family oil, but a lot of people don't know that. So thanks to Bush for all the people, the Bushes, I should say, for all of the devastation that was waged on London during World War II. My BFF and I have always had a strange connection to say we share a brain, and my husband and I have a thing where we both suggest the same thing for dinner. That's adorable. I love that, Erin. My parents used to do that. In fact, my mom and dad would have a game where on Fridays, she would tell him telepathically what the takeaway was going to be, and they would have a joke about whether or not he got the right takeaway. Because she would be like, all right, I want some fried haddock tonight. And she would send him the thought. She wouldn't text it to him or call him because, I mean, this was the 90s. So she'd be like, oh, let's just see if he gets my thought. And then he'll come in with the, fried fish for dinner. She'd be like, ha, I knew it. So it's funny how people in relationships, they do that all the time. They're just not, they just think they know each other so well. Oh, I know you so well, I can read your mind. You know me so well that, yes, you probably could read my mind. And so you are reading my mind, quite literally. It's all about being a vibrational match. Are there guides stationed there to help keep it clear? Well, every single person in there has guides. It's just that their guides were pushed out, so to speak, by all the influx of beasties and baddies in there. So keep in mind, everybody has guides. Guides are always around. It's just whether or not they're being pushed out by entities or whether or not they're being completely ignored because you're so locked into whatever you're going through. So, and yeah, I mean, obviously for Earthbounds, it's different. Because obviously, I mean, if you're going to spend hundreds of years as an Earthbound somewhere, then it is entirely possible that your guides will be like, well, call me when you need me. Bye. So it's complicated. But yeah, I mean, I have a feeling that's why the floor was clear in the first place when we went back to recheck it. Is because the guides were obviously, they're back in their power, so to speak. So maybe they're doing their best to keep it clear. Who knows? Maybe your guys' prayers help too. Maybe you guys calling in angelics also helps. So, anything you guys want to discuss today in general? Any questions? Anybody want to talk about something? Michelle says my brother-in-law is a twin and they don't get along. See, that's honestly, that's one of the best ways to make people work shit out is to make them twins. Like, you two hate each other so much, you're going in together. You're going to work it out this time. I've been saying that to my hubby for 40 years. Didn't you get my telepathic message? I always say that when somebody calls me right after I thought of them, I was like, oh, you did get my brain text. Cool. Happens a lot. Should we expect anything cool for the planetary alignment? I was told, what's funny? I asked my guides yesterday. I'm like, I feel like I'm in a bit of a funk. Like, I don't know why. Like, I don't feel like I'm as happy and high vibe as I normally am. And they're like, no, it's in your chart, Laura. Your astrology chart's got a lot of stuff going on in there. So they said you're not going to feel like yourself back until March. I was like, oh, great. Thanks. So I don't know what's going on until March, but they told me, they're like, no, you're not going to be able to really shake that funky feeling until March anyway. I'm like, oh, well, at least I know now I can prepare for it. So, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on energetically. Who knows? Today is the big day when it comes to, the cabal being pissed off and all of these things. So who knows? Things are going to be really exciting. Do you have a group chat for spiritual support? Yes, kind of. That's what their groups are. We have the Astral Exploration group, and we have the Spirit Release and Lost Soul Rescue group. Did you take down your post about Maurice Vader yesterday? It's not in the page. I shared that in my private group. I shared that in the Astral Exploration discussion group. That is not something I posted publicly. I'm being very careful about what I say and when I say it in regards to that subject. In fact, I'm not even going to discuss it on Facebook because I don't need another really awful psychic attack to happen to me. So no, I'm not going to discuss that here. If you guys want to talk about this Vato thing, we can talk about that on Astara in 30 minutes. I'm happy to talk about it there, but Facebook is not a safe place. Okay. This is not a place where we can discuss really complicated things. And there's things that they do not want me saying on here. I know this for a fact. And that is one of the things they do not want me commenting on. So, and I don't even mean like in a playful, like make my mic glow all weird if I start saying things they don't like. No, I mean, like, I don't need to have a psychic attack where somebody nearly cuts me off on the road and causes an accident. That's how bad sometimes these psychic attacks can get. And that, I mean, like I said, it was, I'll talk about it more later, but yeah, it was rough. Rachel says spiritual attacks affecting people's mental and physical health. Yep. All of that. Well, you know, there's going to be a lot of shifting going on, as you guys are already well aware. There's going to be a lot of changes in the next coming months. So obviously, you know, even the soul guides don't know what's going to happen. They can only see the most common timelines, the most likely timelines available to us, but we're surprising them. We're jumping all over the place. We're going to so many different timelines that even the guides are unexpecting about which timeline we're going to end up in. So yeah, I've learned a lot about future predictions, as you guys are well aware, over the past year. You know, I've had egg on my face a couple times when things did not actually come to fruition, but I'd rather be prepared. Even if there's a small chance at an unfortunate timeline, I would at least like to know the possibility so I can prepare for the likelihood of it happening. So I am tired of not being prepared. I'd rather be over-prepared than under-prepared. But at the same time, it's frustrating when you're prepared for something and it doesn't happen. And you're like, oh, okay. I guess we're going in a different way now. Going in a different timeline. Cool. All right. So on the topic question, I'm going through unfairness situation in family, at work, and romance. What is the universe trying to tell? What does it mean spiritually? Unfairness situations are always, what's the word? There's a lesson in this, yes, but it's almost like you're trying, it's, oh my God, what is the word? When you're meeting somebody in the middle on things, you know, it's like we're learning how to make concessions, how to, you know, compromise. Thank you, brain. So it's like unfairness situations are usually about trying to learn compromise, trying to find a way where people are able to kind of like common ground. Thank you, Michelle. Yes, exactly. Patience is one of the most important things you can have in those kind of situations. And to make sure that you are speaking up for yourself and not bottling things up. But unfortunately, the world is not fair, as my dad would always remind me. Anytime I said the world isn't fair, he'd be like, yeah, you expect it to be fair? No, the world is never fair. And it made me so mad every time he said it. I'm like, it's supposed to be. I know it's not, but it's supposed to be. We're supposed to have balance here. Just that interesting thought. I'm just thinking right now, I wonder if telepathy is basically what astral projection is. I had a weird experience where I saw through my best friend's eyes while she was on vacation while I was sleeping. I was awakened by the sound of her texting me pictures of what she was doing at the same time on that vacation. And it was what I had just been dreaming of doing as if it were me. Well, this is telepathy. You were remote viewing. And yes, you can do that. The thing is, right, a lot of people are unaware that astral projection can be done with multiple people. You can do all kinds of things with astral projection that you would not normally be able to do with your physical body intact, so to speak. This is why astral sex is a thing too, just for the record. Lots of people meet in the astral to have fun. So you can connect with each other in ways that you'd normally be unaware of. And so this is why we're all a collective. We all share. We're all threads that are connected. You know what I mean? So every single one of us have the ability to tune into each other telepathically. It's just that normally those wires don't get, their wires are crossed. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not an easy thing to pinpoint, considering there's so many pinpoint locations. If you know what I'm talking, I don't know if that makes sense. But yes, you can absolutely tune into other people's consciousness that way. Lots of people do it. In fact, the children we were just talking about from the telepathy tapes are pretty much doing similar things as well. Hasana said, I have been using my telepathy power since I was very young. I didn't know what it was then. I am 67 years old. I am separated from my husband now. I can do to this. Oh, you can hear thoughts and you hear him talking about me to other people. Oh man. Oh, man. I know what he is doing. And I tell, so can you shut this off? I'm just curious. Like, was this not able to be controlled? Like you could not tune it out? It got cut off, by the way. I couldn't read the rest of it because feel free to message me if you want to talk about that, Hasana, because that is crazy. That is something that honestly you should be able to tune it out. You should not be. You should honestly. I'm speechless. I would not. I'm somebody speaking as somebody who's twice divorced. I would not want to be stuck in my ex-husband's head. So if this is something you need actual help with, I'm happy to look into this for you because that's wild. It's one thing to be in your husband's head, but to be in your ex-husband's head, especially for an abusive relationship, like, damn. Helen says, do we all have telepathy? Yes, every single one of us. It's just that as I've mentioned before, we are all mediums. So if you're a medium, you're telepathic. You're tuning into stuff all the time. Every single one of you are empaths as well. It's just whether or not you are embracing those gifts and honing those gifts and learning how to advance those gifts is another question entirely. Just scrolling up because there's a lot of comments I missed. Karen says, I agree with you, Laura. I'd rather be prepared, but now my living room has boxes of food in it. Wait till you, honestly, Karen, like I must say, I've been shopping out of my own storage for the last like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And it's actually been really nice to not actually have to go to the store every time you run out of something. I'm like, do I have flour? Shit. And then I go look in the basement. I'm like, oh yeah, I have 30 pounds of flour. Do I have any like blah, blah, blah? Yeah, I've got like 5 things of these. Okay, good to know. So, yep, I feel you on that one. But better safe than sorry, as they say. How do we get to Astara? Thank you very much, Chantal, for answering her question. I'm just going to highlight that. AstaraCommunity.com. You sign up, then you download the Mighty Network and sign in. So there's an app called the Mighty app. Once you sign into Astara Community, you sign up, you give it your email, you sign up to that, and then you can access it. It's going to be a Zoom chat. So you can be on camera or not. It's entirely up to you. Chantal says, I got beans everywhere and water bottles. Oh, man. Well, you know, if worse comes to worse in a year or two and nothing has happened, then I'll just start donating. I don't care. It is what it is. You know those little quarter machines that pop out in the little plastic toys that you see in front of the grocery stores? When I was little, there was at least 10 times that I went to with a quarter in without realizing what I was doing. I manifested 2 toys that came out instead of 1. I did that with so many different scenarios all the time. I love that. There was this one time I went out for Aiden's birthday, and he was watching these other kids play this game where you roll the ball up and then you get it into I forget what it is. Oh my God, skee ball or something, I think it's called. Anyway, so thanks Dogma for reminding me of that because I forgot what it was called. Yeah, skee ball. We're playing skee ball, and there was a little like spot where you get like the grand prize of like 10,000 points, and all these kids were trying to hit it. And Aiden looked at me and he goes, "I'm gonna get it because it's my birthday, Mom." And I was like, "All right." Like we just watched 30 other children fail, but by all means, go for it. And he did, and he got it. He got it. Everything went crazy. All the lights started going off, and then it started printing literally 10,000 tickets. Like we had tickets in our arms like this because it's one of those old-fashioned arcades. And so, yeah, it had like we were literally walking up with our arms this full of tickets to get our prizes. And Aiden was like so proud of himself. But it was funny how he declared he was going to do it. He literally was like, it's my birthday. I'm going to do this. Watch. And he threw 1 ball and got it. And he ended up walking home. He ended up going home with like a giant stuffy because of it. Like it totally, you should have seen his face. Like he was so proud of himself. But the funny thing is the fact that he declared it before doing it made it so much more exciting and interesting because all the children that were standing around watching, they all had the same expression as me, like, sure you're gonna do it, kid, whatever. And sure enough, he did. You should have seen all of our faces. So this is like law of attraction, you guys. What you say, what you speak, what you think, you manifest. So be careful what you're saying. Be careful what you're thinking. Especially when, it's fear-based. So fear-based stuff is self-sabotage. If you're afraid, and this is the funny thing, I love you, Mom, me saying this. My mom has a special gift, right? Where she can identify the worst case scenario in any situation. It doesn't matter what the situation is. She can find what would possibly be the worst case scenario and start vocalizing it, And it's funny how these things happen because it's like, there's a fine line, right, between premonition and manifestation. So whenever my mom is right, she's like, see, I told you it was going to happen. And I'm like, yeah, because you made it happen. So it's kind of hard. It's like, where do you draw the line? Like, how do you know whether or not you manifested something or whether or not you just knew it was going to happen and you tuned into that possibility and were like, yeah, that's the most likely scenario. Yes, exactly. Some of you, I'm sure, have parents that are similar to that, Jessica. My parents are like that. Everything will unalive you. Yes, exactly. So it's funny how, it's like you have to be mindful of what you say. And even if you are being extremely optimistic, when you're like, you know what, this is going to happen. I'm going to win the lottery. It doesn't matter how insane the declaration is, and it doesn't matter if it doesn't come true or not. At least you're setting the intention and declaring what you wished for the universe. So it makes a big difference. And he still brags about that, by the way. He still brags about getting the 10,000 tickets. That's going to be a core memory for him, without a doubt. Oh, so funny. Keisha says, does putting up our protections also limit our ability to share our light with our surroundings? I know it protects our energy from incoming energies and protects others from our energy if it's crappy, but I wonder if it could hinder raising the vibrations around us. That's a really good question. Excellent question. Honestly, I don't know. That's a good question for the guides. Because yeah, sometimes you do try, it's not, I wouldn't say dimming your light, but locking it down so it's not as obvious. Yeah, because unfortunately, being a bright light in a dark place, you are going to attract a lot of moths, as they say. So sometimes we do try to go in more covertly with our bright light. So yeah, this is one of the things, especially for starseeds and light workers and people who are, carrying a very high frequency. Yeah, you do end up attracting unwanted attention. So yes, your protections are important. I don't think that I don't know. I'm just going to answer this intuitively, but I think that your frequency being so high is already makes it more of a dominant frequency. So even if you're kind of like not making it as obvious, think of it kind of like, I don't know why, but I just had like the Tesseract in my head. So if you guys don't know what the Tesseract is, it's like this little glowy blue box, right? And they take that blue box and they put it into another box, and that shields the light from it so nobody knows what's inside. But it's still all powerful. It's still able to do all the things it needs to do. It's just shielding itself and protecting itself. So I still think no, I don't think that shielding it is going to stop you from being able to disseminate your high vibration, especially for those of you who are actively making difference in the world, who are, going out and helping people. And it's like you're bingo dobbing high vibes everywhere you go. Every person, even just smiling at somebody, you can change their whole day. I've seen it happen because I'm one of those people that are always smiling like an idiot when I'm in public, just smiling at random people. And I see their vibration change immediately sometimes, especially older people. If you see an older person, like somebody that's out pushing carts or somebody that's just kind of working a register or greeting people, spend just 2 seconds with them saying hello, good morning, how are you, how's the weather, blah, 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 and watch their vibration go up. Watch them change their whole demeanor. And you can see you actually made a difference. If you can get them to laugh too, if you say something funny and get them to laugh, you will notice it changes their whole vibration. So, yeah, especially for people that are miserable at their jobs, if you're really nice to them and make them laugh or smile, like you can tell that your vibration is making a difference. Absolutely. Give them a compliment. I love compliments. Anytime I see somebody, I don't care who you are. If I've never seen you before in my life, I will walk up to you and be like, "Oh my God, you look beautiful today." I'm just like that. So I think that that actually makes a difference. So it's not just about being a high vibe person and holding that energy. It's about speaking to other people, having conversations, going out and interacting. I know many of you are introverts. I am an introvert myself, even though, like I said, I may not seem like it sometimes. I absolutely am. So I think that it's a challenge for us. It's an opportunity for us to go outside of our shell, so to speak. So I know it's not easy, especially for those of you who really just want to be left the fuck alone. It's completely understandable. But you got to remember that your high vibration is what's changing the world. So you got to share it. So any other questions while I'm going off on these little tangents today? Emmy says, I said to my teacher when you told me you don't know mathematics, you won't get in college. I told him I'm going to win the competition to get into university and I'll be the first one to get the answer. And that's what happened. I was in Albania. I was 19 years old in 2003 and I won the competition. Wonderful, Emmy. See, isn't that lovely when people try and stop you and then you're just like, hey, let me show you. Hold my beer. Hang on a second. Let me show you how it's done. I love that, Emmy. Really, that's amazing. How exciting as well to have people doubt you and then you're like, in your face. Not much more satisfying than somebody doubting you and then you proving them wrong. Just saying. I'm a stubborn person, so this is why it's my jam, eh? I love that. I feel you, Laura. I'm also introverted, but I have to be extroverted for work and life. Exactly. Yep. I always prefer to be by myself. I don't know why. I just do. I think it's because I'm an empath. Honest, all of you are empaths, but some of you are more sensitive than others. And those who are really sensitive to other people's energies, like you ever go into a space and one person changes your whole mood for the day? That is the old me. I used to go into a space and one person would say something to me and it would change my whole vibe for the day. And that is when you are not the dominant frequency, right? So if you go into a space and people are trying to get you down and they still can't get you down, you are the dominant frequency. So whenever we are able to be changed by other people's moods and opinions and all of that stuff, that is when we do not have control over our own energy and our own thoughts. So it is a challenge. It is a big challenge, especially for people who are highly sensitive, because you feel everything. And when you go out in public, especially, you feel everything. So, apparently I came here for Gaia and the animals, not so much the people. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that are here for the animals, especially you earth seeds. Many of you earth seeds have been, caretakers of these animals and this earth for thousands of years. So the people, you're like, well, we don't really need the people so much as we need the animals. When I was doing anti-poaching in South Africa, you don't believe how many times people would ask me that question. Like, why aren't you helping the people? Why are you just here helping the animals? It's like, well, the animals can't really help themselves. The people can. So for every social gathering, I need a week to recover. It's gotten better now that I practice protection. Yep. Exactly, Jessica. And many of you have probably been dealing with this since your teens as well. Because, when we were teenagers, we were a lot more sensitive to these things. Anybody here was an emotional teenager? Holy shit. I was an extremely emotional teenager to the point where I didn't even know whose emotions I was feeling. I'd just be feeling everything all at once and it would spin me out of control. So emotional teenagers, yeah, many of us, we were dealing with overwhelm and we just didn't know it. And that's why many of us ended up, becoming recluses in many ways or isolating ourselves. I've been a loner for most of my life. Yep. I may have a lot of friends and family around, but I'm still a loner. I would still sneak away and prefer to be by myself. So, especially as a teenager, my teens were rough. I'm sure some of you can relate. I was extreme. I was angry. I think that's honestly my disassociated teen self was real pissed. I'm sure when I got that clearing. Yep, especially teenagers. Michelle's been a loner her whole life too. Yep. I don't know. I just prefer to be that way. I've always joked about being a lone wolf, but yeah, I have been. I've always preferred to be that way. It's nice though. I mean, honestly, it's nicer to have people like this is the biggest community I've ever been a part of. And to have this many people who care about you is incredible. Because to be honest, like most of my life, I felt like nobody gave a shit at all. So I'm sure that some of you have been able to relate to that as well, you know, very isolated and not knowing who you can trust and feeling very just jaded and I had so many chips on my shoulder. My God. But this was all obviously pre-healing and it's taken me probably like 20 years just to heal what I went through in my teens. So now it's like, well, my 16-year-old self is finally healed and I'm almost 40. Like, but you know what's funny? We get clearings all the time, right? And at least 3-4 times a week when we are finishing clearings, I do a full check on myself and the medium. So we go down through the entire protocol. We don't just check for entities and check for sovereignty. We check for cords, we check for contracts, any of those things that might have reappeared itself. And what's interesting is that myself and this other medium have the same disassociation that reappears whenever I check. And they're the same age, 16. So at least once a week, I'm getting my disassociated 16-year-old self to reintegrate. And then sure enough, I go back and check next week and they're like, nope, she's disconnected again. It's like, oh, can you reintegrate her again? Yes, we can. All right, thank you. And then you feel agitated for a couple more days and you're like, why do I feel so agitated? And you're like, oh yeah, I reintegrated that pissed off 16-year-old again. So it's funny, you know, especially when those of you have triggers of different ages, you notice when you're triggered because you start acting like the age of the disassociation. So when I'm triggered, my angry 16-year-old self comes out. And that's when I like slam the door and I'm like, everybody leave me alone. And then I blare Bon Jovi. But yeah, Leanne says I can cry at a commercial. See, when you're triggered into tears, that's when you're releasing. When you're randomly crying, you're like, why are you crying? You're like, I don't know. That's you're releasing. You don't need a reason to release. Sometimes you just get a trigger and you're like, okay, it's time to release all of this. And then the next thing you know, you're sobbing and you have no reason to be sobbing. There's always a reason. It's just underlying and in your subconscious. Rachel says that's why it's important to connect and support each other. Exactly, Rachel. 100%. Marla says, I tell my kids that crying is my superpower. I love that, Marla. Chantal says, Bon Jovi. Yes, it's my life. I used to blare that song every time I was mad at my mom. I would slam my door and I would play that song, It's My Life by Bon Jovi. I am not even kidding. That is a core memory there. So funny to be 16 years old again. Oh my God, there's nothing worse in reality that I could imagine. Somebody just take my consciousness now and pluck me back in my 16-year-old body. Oh, what a nightmare. Because it was rough, eh? Even knowing what I know now. Oh man, just being a teenager is so rough. So Bradley says, I have so many things to say, but I'm driving. Bradley is driving his big giant van full of puppies today. I hope your drive is going smoothly, Bradley. He's driving all the high vibes around. I bet you do have a lot to say. Anyway, we're going to hop over to Astara in a minute. So for those of you who are unaware of what Astara is, I'm just going to put the link. Astara community. And we are doing some revamping on Astara. There's some things that are going to be changing over the next coming months, which is why we don't have many educators on there right now. I haven't been trying to refill it because we are going to be revamping, changing things around, kind because it's going to go more in line with the school that I am creating. So yeah, there's going to be all kinds of wonderful, exciting things going to be happening with Astara, but right now we're kind of in this goo phase. Donna says you couldn't pay me to go back. No, seriously, Donna, I agree. Nope. Nope, definitely agree with that one. So any other final questions before we head over to Astara, and then I'll talk about all the things that I don't want to talk about on Facebook. Astara is a much safer place for us to have open conversations. Facebook is not. Especially because we'll probably get a clearing right in the beginning, hopefully. Then we know we got the floor. And the eavesdroppers. I don't know. There's probably always eavesdroppers somewhere. Especially on here. Your link to book a session, please. If you'd like to book a session with me, it's astrallara.com. That is also getting a facelift in the next coming weeks. All the things are changing. We're making all the things better. So astrallara.com is my website if you guys would like to book a clearing or a mentorship. Keep in mind, some of you guys go straight to like the same clearings, but there's actually quite a few different ones on there. We have, for $250, I do 10 clearings all at once. We put 10 people in a bubble and clear them all at once. You see the property checks on there. Property checks, I can clear not only a house, but a building, an office, things like that. Obviously, it depends on how big the building is. One person asked me if I can clear, they work in an insurance company, and they said, can you clear my whole office? And I said, well, I will clear your office and probably even the floor, but not the entire building. Because, I mean, obviously, when the building is enormous, then that's different. But we can clear your workspace and make sure that all of those things are cleared for you guys. Especially if you end up having, like, weird things going on in the office. So, yeah, there's a whole bunch of other things in there. Yeah, Chantal says, I like the detailed thing. The detailed full clearing is half clearing, half mediumship reading. So it's got aftercare centered advice directly from your soul guides. So if you guys want a clearing and you want to know more about where you picked up the beasties or where your vulnerabilities are, or even if you just want to ask certain questions like, who are my soul guides? Although I think, honestly, if you're going to ask questions like that, you're better off having a meeting with Adriana or one of the mediums, because then you can have a direct chat with your soul guides rather than just asking a couple questions. Although I must say that is the most common question that we get in the detailed clearings is, who are my soul guides and what kind of starseed am I? So we can obviously answer that for you. That's not a problem. So for those of you who are unaware, you get a 15-page report with all clearings just to get an idea of what we were looking for and what we found. Roberta says, can I have your phone number, please? Not a chance. Nobody has my phone number. Nope. I have like 4 people that know my phone number, and I'm keeping it that way. Any other questions, you guys? Feel free to hit me up. You can message me privately as well. I know some of you have been trying to get my attention for a couple days now. I am going to be catching up on messages today. I get a lot of messages over the weekend. Did I post your link? Which one? Any other questions? What link were you talking about, Nicole? So yeah, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to hit me up on Astara, because I'm going to switch over now. It's 11 a.m. like I normally do every Monday. How do I sign up, Laura? Are you talking about for Astara? So if you go to Astara, actually, hold on. Let me just find the link for you. So astaracommunity.com, create a sign-in. And then once you sign in, you can go to the Mighty app, or you can just log in on a computer and join that way. But like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free to message me and I can help you out. You just need to... Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Astara. Yes, for clearings, it's astrallara.com right there. Thank you, Jen. You're the best. And for those of you who want to join me for the chat that we're going to be having just now, if you go to astaracommunity.com, you sign up, you download the Mighty app, or you can just log in and join that way. But it'll be a Zoom link that we'll be having just now. So if you guys see the Zoom link, you can join us for that private chat. So I will see you guys over there. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will speak to you all soon. Take care.